Hello, hello. Welcome back. Maybe it's day 16 of the Fable Yoga series. My name is Marisse, and I'm a yoga teacher in London, and I'll be doing the Dynamic Power 30-minute class today. So let's get started. So just a reminder before we get moving to, of course, take everything at your own pace. It doesn't matter if you're a little bit kind of slower than me, maybe even a little bit faster. Just do what you can. Everything is kind of optional, be different variations. There might be a variation that you already know if you practice yoga. So just enjoy. When we start, it's going to be standing to start, which I don't do very often. So you can say it's cruel, but we'll do it anyway. So we're going to come to the top of the mat. So start in what feels like Tadasana mountain pose. So just starting with your feet. So you're going to have your feet roughly, maybe hip width distance. Maybe you feel comfortable having your feet a little bit closer together, maybe to the point where the toes are touching and heels slightly apart. But it doesn't really matter as long as you kind of feel somewhat grounded and standing. And you might close down the eyes, see if you can relax the shoulders. But this sense of rooting down with the feet nice and tall, crown of the head if it's reaching toward the ceiling. And you might have your hands either side of the body, energizing the fingertips down toward the ground, or you might have, I like to take one hand to the belly and one hand to the heart. You can have both hands to the heart, both hands to the belly, whatever you like. Just close down the eyes if that feels okay from your standing position. And we'll ground this way, or just take a moment to arrive, be here, come as you are. Noticing perhaps a sense of how you're feeling. Being in the space that you're in, just notice what you hear, whatever you're sensing. Even if noticing that in a standing position, it's not feeling too comfortable, just know that it won't last forever. If your eyes are closed, see if you can soften. If it feels better for your balance and your stability, allow your eyes to open. Connect with breath. So if your hand is on the belly, which it doesn't have to be, see if you can really relax the belly so that when you inhale, you're going to feel the belly rise, maybe the chest and the shoulders rise a little bit, and you exhale. Take a couple of rounds of kind of maybe slightly deeper inhales and exhales. Maybe you prefer to just watch the breath go in and out without control. Maybe noticing heartbeats, allow the breath, if you've been taking slightly deeper inhales and exhales, return back to something that feels a little bit more natural now, so just allow the breath to move in and out. Maybe watching the movement of the body as you do this. Just begin to shift your weight right to left, without necessarily, don't have to pick the feet up, but just feeling what it feels like to shift your body right to left from one foot to the other. Maybe now going around in circles and just feeling kind of all parts of the foot as you put weight into different areas, and just notice what that's like. A little sense of balance. And then bring it back to center. If your hands are on the body, you're going to reach your arms, or place them beside the hips rather. A little bit of softness into the knees. And then inhale, reach your arms above head. You can go wide, you can go in front of you, reach them up. Think about biceps up by ear, really reach your shoulders up by the ears now, so don't be afraid to kind of bring the shoulders really up so you can feel the length in side body. Maybe even look up. And then on your next exhale, you might bring the palms together. You're going to hinge and fold from hips. Come all the way down, nice bend into the knees, Uttanasana, forward fold. Maybe allowing the head to kind of hang heavy. You might kind of shake it side to side. Your next inhale, bring your hands to your shins and bring the body at what feels about halfway, so the body as if it's in line with the ground. Kind of broad collarbones, look forward if that's okay, maybe slight bend into your knees, and then bring your hands down onto the mat and just walk your feet back, coming to a plank position. Seems to be my favorite pose at the moment, plank position. I don't even like it that much. I don't know why I'm doing it. So if you notice your hips are coming up a little bit, see what it feels like to draw them down. So it's kind of like one nice straight line, energizing the heels away from you, pushing them ground with the hands, and then allow the knees to come down onto the mat. And you can walk your knees a little bit further forward. You come into a tabletop position. We're going to rock like my words today. We're going to warm up, or warm up, whatever I was about to say, the wrists. You can shift right and left, pressing your thumbs, your fingertips into the mat, and then begin to go forward and back, forward. Just notice how the wrists are. Of course, if you're working with any wrist injuries or any injuries anywhere in the body, just honor that. Go lightly if it's feeling too much, to put that pressure on, knowing that when you come to plank, you can bring the forearms down onto the ground instead. And then begin to do circles, one direction and then the other. Just move it around. And you can stay with these circling around of shifting the weight in circles. You can bring your fingertips towards you with the palms facing down. You might begin to come back, lean back. And then bring it forward. And then you might bring your fingertips back forward again if you had them towards your body. And then just lean back if you like. Just if it feels okay to sit the bottom onto the heels, and just give your wrist a little bit of a shake out. And then when you're ready, you're placing the hands back down onto the mat. Take a couple of cat-cows. So movement into the spine as you inhale, drop the belly, maybe allowing the chin to draw up as you arch the back. The shoulder blades squeezing toward one another as you send the tailbone nice and high. And then the exhale, chin towards chest as you round the spine, pushing the hands into the mat. You can do any depth of this. So if you feel like doing just slight small movements, continue to do this like this. If you really want to bring a lot of range into this, you're very welcome to. So however you want to do it. In your own time, the inhale, the exhale, you can breathe with breath to movement, vinyasa style. If that doesn't work for you today, just breathe. And then tuck your toes, send the hips nice and high, downward facing dog. So push the hands into the mat. You can have as much bend into your knees, especially to begin with, and you might walk the dog out, as that's what it's called, bending one leg and then the other, just noticing if it feels better to maybe place your hands a little bit wider, maybe it's a little bit narrower depending. Don't worry about if your fingertips turn out slightly or turn in, which is less likely, but if that happens, you don't have to have your fingertips pointing directly straight ahead. Just honor what feels better into your body. Same with the toes. Allow the head to hang. You might kind of shake it yes, no. Really nice. And then looking towards your hands, a little bend into the knees. If you've got a little bit of energy, you might hop it forward. You're going to step it. I'm going to step it. Step your feet forward until they're just behind the wrist joints. Bring your hands to your shins. Roll the body up. Roll the shoulders back. Halfway lift. Exhale, allowing yourself to fold down Uttanasana, bending into the knees if that's what's required. And then inhale, chair pose. Another one of my favorite poses you'll see in pretty much all of my classes. You reach your arms up. You might have your hands onto your hips for Uttanasana chair pose. And looking up towards your fingertips, maybe you might switch the gaze there, right? Be straight ahead, whatever feels best for your body. Really good. And then begin to shift weight into your right foot. So you can bring your hands onto your hips if you like. You can bring your arms up. You're going to pick up the left leg. Think about the left knee coming close towards the chest. You're balancing on right leg. Bend into the right leg still. And then begin to send the left leg behind you for warrior three. So warrior three doesn't have to be perfectly horizontal. You could be here. You can kind of pivot, tilt, keep the chest somewhat lifted. You're balancing on right leg. Really press the toes into the mat. Kind of grip the mat with the toes. And then nice and slow, you're going to lower that left foot all the way down to come into a high lunge. You bend into your right leg. Kind of maybe shuffling that left foot back, or you bend into your right leg and you reach your arms up. Really good. And then you're going to bring your arms in front of you. So reach them out. And then bend from the elbows and bring the palms together, maybe drawing the elbows together. If you want to take eagle arms, you can take your left arm around on top of the right. Maybe the backs of the hands touch. Maybe it's palms touching, whatever feels best. Coming to eagle arms. Begin to hinge and fold for like an arrow lunge with eagle arms. So you're not resting the body onto the thigh, but there's a little bit of a lift, and you're powering up the back leg. So you're almost like you're about to launch off of the mat. You can drop the eagle arms at any point, see if you can hold them where they are as you next inhale, rise the body up, then turn the left toes out ground, the heel coming to a warrior two with eagle arms. Now I'm going to turn up to the back of you so I can show you what this looks like. You want your kind of arms in line with the chest, so your chest is facing the side of the mat somewhat, your right knee bends, you've got that 90-degree angle with the feet. Really nice. And then begin to release your arms, take your arms wide, your warrior two, with regular warrior two arms, reaching fingertips away from each other. And then you're going to straighten your right leg. Now bring your palms together at heart center, and you will turn your left toes out to the left. Begin to bend into your left leg. Keep the right leg straight, and then come onto the heel of that foot with the toes coming off. Now we're moving into Skandasana. So as you begin to lower the bottom down to the left for a side lunge, left knee coming out to the left. For some people it might be about here, totally fine. You might allow yourself to come all the way down if that feels wise. If the heel stays down, it doesn't. If you're like me and you prefer to have the heel up because that feels better, take it there. You might have a couple of blocks in front of you to hold you here. You might have your palms together. See if you can energize the toes up. And you can stay here, or as you inhale, allow the bottom to come down. See how that feels. Reach the arms out. As you exhale, you're going to press that left foot into the mat. Bottom comes back up, Skandasana. Keep the bottom somewhat low. You're going to slide over to the other side. So as you slide over to the other side, your right leg bends, your left leg extends. Sorry, your back is to you. Your left toes up. Remember, heel can be grounded or not. And you're going to turn yourself to the right. Begin to turn the toes to the top of the mat, so you're like in a little runner's lunge. Inhale, lift the body just a little bit, so you're like in between a runner's lunge and a high lunge, fingertips just hovering off of the mat. And then bring your hands to the inside of the right foot, taking your right leg out to the right for your lizard lunge. Now you might have a little bit of a play here by meaning stay where you are. You might bring your hands down, knee comes down, whatever you like. You might begin to take that right arm underneath the right leg. That left arm walks out to the left, so your arms are coming wide somewhat. Just play around with maybe hovering the fingertips off of the mat. It's not easy as you press your feet into the mat, holding you here. Wherever you are, your fingertips might come down. They might be still up. Some people like to bind here. If that's you wherever you are. Now, if your hands aren't already to the inside of that right foot, take them there. And then when you're ready, you're going to pick up that right leg. You're going to extend it back, three-legged dog. Maybe even kick the leg up and give it a little bit of a shake. Then look back towards your hand. You're going to step your right foot to the outside of the right hand again. And then your left foot's coming to the outside of the left hand. Turn your toes out, coming to Malasana Yogi Squat. So seeing if you can, rather than, it's very easy to round here, which isn't like the worst thing in the world, but this sense of a lift, palms together, elbows are coming to the insides of the legs to this little bit of opening. If your heels don't ground, that's totally fine. You can come up into the balls of the feet. It doesn't matter if you want to be here instead, so you're like kind of like a yogi squat chair hybrid. And then wherever you are, you're going to bring your hands down. You might begin to kind of hop the feet back or walk the feet back. So it's completely up to you. You might kind of shift your weight into the hands and just hop it back. And if you want to, you're going to lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. The knees could be down, of course, and do your cobra. And then tuck your toes as you send your hips high, coming to your downward facing dog. Heels might ground, they might not. That's the least important thing in downward facing dog. My heels don't usually ground towards the end of the practice. It doesn't matter if they never ever ground. Really nice. Now look towards your hands. You might hop it, you might walk it, get your way to the top of the mat. You inhale, bring it to a halfway lift. And as you exhale, forward. Your next inhale, you're going to bend your knees, sit your bottom somewhat low, it's Utkatasana chair pose. Maybe going a little bit deeper, maybe not. Weight into the heels. You can have your hands onto your hips if you prefer. And then this time, as you shift your weight into your left foot, you're going to pick up your right leg. Think about the knee coming as high as it can, almost like you're going to kick it out, but you won't. And you begin to send it back. As you send your right leg back, you're coming to your warrior three again. So again, it doesn't matter too much kind of where your body is, where your leg is. You're balancing on the left leg. You might take the foot a little bit higher. You might lower down with the chest. But you might decide you don't want to do that. A little bend into the left leg. Arms wherever they want to be. And then you can see if you can take that right foot, plant it down safely, coming to a high lunge, so you bend into your left leg. Make sure your feet are roughly hip-width distance. Reach your arms up. Inhale. Bend into left leg as you exhale. And you can bring your arms out again in front of you. Bend from the elbows, bring the palms together. You might bring the elbows toward each other. I've actually realized this is actually a little bit harder than eagle arms. It could be different for you. If you want to come into eagle arms, this time your right arm goes on top of the left. Maybe it's the backs of the hands that touch, maybe it's the palms. So now you're in your eagle. See if you can kind of relax the shoulders down a little bit. Maybe you might take the elbows a little bit higher. Your high lunge, eagle arms. And we're going to move to warrior two legs. You can turn your right toes out to the right, ground the heel down, bend into your left leg. And then your body somewhat facing the kind of side of the mat. You're bending into your left leg. Expansion of body, hips nice and open. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana two with eagle arms. Really good. And then begin to release the eagle arms. Take your arms out wide. Never been so happy to take my arms wide in warrior two. They are aching though. And then begin to straighten your left leg. Bring your palms together at heart center. Now, this time you're going to turn your right toes out to the right. The heel comes in slightly. And you're going to begin to bend into your right leg. Now, come onto the heel of the left foot. The toes come up. So we're moving into Skandasana side lunge. So as you begin to bend your knees, your right knee out to the right, you might be about here. That's a totally wonderful place to be. If you want to come a little bit lower, if it's accessible for you, you might have a couple of blocks or a block that holds you here. The bottom comes all the way down. You might come onto the ball of the foot or the heel. And you might do this. You inhale, you might bring the bottom down. As you exhale, you might press the foot into the mat, bring the bottom up. You might use the ground to help you do this. Back to maybe palms together, maybe not. We're going to slide over to the other side. So you're going to bring your bottom, see if you can keep it nice and low. You're going to slide it over to the other side, bending into your left leg. Now the right leg straightens and you bring your right toes up towards ceiling. All that energy in that direction. It might be a little bend into the right leg. Nice and lifted with the chest. And then begin to turn your body to the left. Turn the toes with you so they face the top of the mat. Coming to a little runner's lunge. And then see if you can begin to hover the fingertips off of the mat. Really good. And we're going to bring ourselves back into our eagle arms. We're going to bring our right arm on top of our left. And you're going to hinge and fold, coming to that arrow lunge variation. You can always bring the palms together and the elbows together. Legs are burning, and then begin to release if you took it there. And then bring your hands to the inside of the left foot and begin to heel toe the left leg out to the left a little bit to give you that space for your lizard lunge. You might bring your knee down, of course. Maybe it's elbows onto a block, if you've got a cushion, something like that, directly onto the ground. Just remember that sometimes one side can feel quite accessible, quite easy, quite open. The other side doesn't probably feel the same. So just honor that and be aware of that. We're all working with obviously different bodies and different sides. They're not symmetrical on the inside. And then you're going to see if maybe, if you want to walk your hands, so left hand underneath the left leg and out to the left, right arm coming out. You might tuck the toe, you might see what it feels like to lift, and it feels horrible, you bring your fingertips back down. So a lot of challenge because the hips will want to turn a little bit. You pull the belly into the spine, you might lift, you might wrap. Whatever you want to do. And you're going to bring your hands back to the inside of the left leg. If you took it there, ooh, my legs. And you're going to pick that left foot up, begin to extend it back for a three-legged dog. But then again, a little bit of shake into the left leg. And then look towards your hands, and you're going to step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Look at your right hand. You're going to step as many steps as it takes. It could be 10 steps, 1 step. Right foot's coming to the outside of the right hand. Turn your toes out slightly. Begin to lower the bottom down. Doesn't matter how far down. Coming to yogi squat malasana. Take a couple of breaths to arrive here. Palms pressing together. That kind of lift in chest. Nice broad collarbones. Now, you may stay here, of course. If you'd like to, you might bring your hands down onto the ground, begin to lift the bottom, and just walk the feet a little bit closer towards each other, maybe hip width distance. Have a little bit of play, perhaps, with your Kakasana, your crow pose. So as your hands come down, whether this is the first time you've done this or the 100th time you've done this, maybe just treat it like a new experience. So just be really aware of where your hands want to be. So where they would be for Chaturanga, you want to think about Chaturanga arms. Begin to bend your elbows backwards. And then as you bring the heels off of the ground, you're on the balls of the feet, begin to send, or the idea of sending the knees to the backs of the arms. Think about even armpits here. Bottom nice and high. If it's available, of course, you bring your knees nice and high. And then you want to grip the mat with the fingertips. Rather than allowing the elbows to come out to the sides, draw them towards each other. And it's going to feel like you're descending down because that's actually what's happening. The bottom's going to come a little bit higher. Your head will go down. It feels a little bit scary. Then you don't have to bring your feet up, but shift the weight into your hands, grip the mat with the fingertips. Maybe one foot comes off, maybe the other foot comes off, maybe you try both feet off. Just see how that feels, kind of looking forward. Some people straighten the arms here, do what you'd like to do. And then when you're ready, allow the feet to come down, come back to your Malasana, your yogi squat. I'm bringing my heels up for this point. A little shake of the wrists if that's required. Then we're going to take a little twist in our Malasana. So again, heels can come up, they can come down. Begin to bring your right arm in front of your right leg and extend it out to the right. Begin to take your left arm high, so coming to a little twist. You might even wrap the arms behind you if that's something that feels available. And then wherever you are, you're going to bring it back to center. We'll go to the other side. So your left arm is going to reach out towards the left, fingertips onto the ground. You're going to reach your right arm up, nice and high. Feel that side body stretch wherever you're feeling it. So you can keep taking that right knee and the left knee out to the sides. And then you're going to bring your hand back down. You're going to bring your palms together. Now, if you can do this, you're going to bring your bottom down onto the ground. If it doesn't feel right to go straight there, just make your way in whichever way it takes you so that your bottom's onto the ground. You bring your legs out in front of you. You're going to put up your leggings if they're falling down like mine. Begin to bring your knees in towards your chest. And then lift your feet off of the mat. Come into Navasana. Boat pose, knees coming in, your feet might be here, they might be here. You can release your hands from your legs and reach your fingertips towards the toes. Maybe have a little bit of play around with your left leg extending. Then you might bend it. Then you might extend your right leg. This is all optional. So you can kind of lift. A little rounding in the back is okay, but the idea of lifting, you might even extend both legs. Whoo, no thanks. You're going to bend your legs if that's happening wherever you are. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, you're going to bring it to lower your feet down, cross one shin in front of the other maybe. Plant your hands down and either walk or take a little jump back to your plank, maybe straight to downward facing dog, or you shift your weight forward slightly. Allow the elbows to bend back as you lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, take it through upward facing dog. So really send the hips almost like they're going to come through the wrists. Of course, they won't. And then as you exhale, tuck the toes, send your hips back to your downward facing dog. Breathe. And then looking towards your hands. You're going to bend your knees. You're going to step your way to the top of the mat, bringing your hands to your shins, roll the shoulders back, look forward. And then as you exhale, forward. Inhale, sweep your arms wide, soften the knees. You're going to reach your arms up. And then bring your palms together at heart center and then beside the hips. Now you're going to bend your knees. Weight goes into the heels, Utkatasana chair pose. Maybe don't take too much of a bend for this variation. Just a little bend into the knees. Now begin to shift your weight onto your right foot. You're going to pick up your left foot. And your option, you might step your left foot to the outside of the right leg. Foot can come onto the ground. You might keep the foot hovering and cross the legs. You might wrap the left foot around the right calf. Now how much you bend into your legs is completely up to you for your eagle, Garudasana. And we've done the eagle arms already. This time you're going to take your arms out in front of you. It's going to be your right arm on top of your left. You bend from the elbows. Again, it could be backs of the hands. It could be palms pressing. You might decide to kind of hinge and fold. Keep the chest somewhat lifted. Your version, no matter where you are, with the foot down. You can have your elbows and palms together. Anywhere you want to be. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, release the arms first, then release the legs. Allow that right leg to have a little bit of a kick out. And we're going to move to the other side. So a little bend into both legs, a little kind of soft Utkatasana. And then shift your weight onto your left foot. You're going to pick up your right foot. You can have your hands on your hips if you like, bringing your right foot to the outside of your left foot. If you stay here, you might keep it hovering across the legs. You might hook the foot around the left leg. And how much bend is completely your choice. You bring the arms out in front of you. On this side, we do left over right if you're taking the eagle arms, or maybe it's your elbows and your palms together. If you're taking the eagle arms with the palms kind of wrapped, so the arms wrapped rather, your backs of your hands or your palms might touch, and you might take your elbows up a little bit higher. One more inhale wherever you are. And as you exhale, release the arms, release the legs. You may have folded forward and come back up. You're going to release the legs, give it a little bit of a kick out with the legs, a little shake out with the arms, shake out with the legs. Last sun salutation, if you're up for it. You can always sit down, lie down on your mat if you prefer. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, the hands to shins or fingertips to the mat. Bring your hands down. It might be a little jump back. It might be a walk back. Your choice. You might lower straight down. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Press hands and tops of the feet into the mat. And take your hips back. Downward facing dog. Now bring your knees onto the mat. Take your knees maybe wide, maybe together as you send your body over the legs for child's pose. And if you don't want to go to child's pose, it's not a comfortable resting pose for you, come down to lie on your back straight away. That's where I'm going to go. So if you're in a child's pose, take a couple of moments to breathe. Allow the shoulders to soften in your child's pose if you're there. If you're lying down on your back like me, to relax. My knees might be bent. And if you've come to your child's pose, I'll just demo that. When you're ready, you slowly bring your body all the way up. When you're ready, take your legs out to one side, hips come onto the ground, and then you lower all the way down. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale. Releasing it. And if your knees aren't already bent in your lying down position, bend your knees. Just take your feet a little bit wider. And then just take window wipe actions with the legs. So you can bring your right knee in, your left knee out, and then switch it over. So left knee goes in, right knee goes out. Just take a little bit of movement. And maybe take your arms out to a T if this is comfortable. Bring your knees towards your chest so your feet come off of the floor, and then send both of your knees over to the right, coming to a spinal twist. Now you can bring your knees a little bit closer towards you, a little bit further away. All that really matters, our hips face one side and our shoulders face the ceiling. Inhale, bring the knees back to center. When you're ready on your next exhale, knees will come over to the left. Arms wide, maybe looking over to right hand. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back to center. If you like, you can bring your knees in towards your chest. Take as many movements as you feel you need. Legs, maybe taking a little bit of a shake, maybe a little bit of a shake, roll of the wrist, especially if you were doing the crow pose and lots of planks and stuff that we were doing. Allow your hands to kind of release. And when you're ready, you move into your Savasana. So Shavasana or Shavasana, moving and into this pose in a way that feels comfortable. So legs may be long, arms may be long. Get yourself comfortable if it means taking out your hairband, popping some socks on, a jumper if you want to get a little bit warmer. For a moment, see if you close down the eyes. The movements, the energy has led us to stillness. And built up to this resting position, which physically isn't the most demanding pose, but can be one of the hardest poses to stay still in. The mind will wander, it will jump from place to place, and that's okay. If that happens, it happens. Just be aware of it. And then a moment of silence. Staying here for as long as you like. And when you feel ready to move, hands, fingers, take movement, maybe the head. Of course, you can stay lying down for as long as you like. Move intuitively. You want to stay lying down to finish, by all means do so. You want to come up to seated in your own way, getting yourself there. Maybe eyes closed, maybe they're open, your choice. And you come back to any seated position that feels comfortable, somewhat comfortable for you. Take it there. Hands rest where they do. Take a moment to just notice how you are, remembering why you practice. And maybe practicing for someone else, whether it's a group, organization, country, sending that energy there. You bring your palms together if you like, or another practice of yoga. Maybe bowing down. When you're ready, allow yourself to just relax, open the eyes if they're not already. And thank you very much for joining. My name is Marisse. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to send us a comment below. Let us know how you got on. See you next time.